Well, we're always happy when you decide to join us in our short devotionals that we have each day of the week. And we're glad that some of you are taking the time to do that. I hear from a number of people that they start their day by listening to these 4, 5, 6 minute broadcasts, and then hopefully get into the Word as well and other places. But it's a starter, it's beginning, and a number of people have appreciated these broadcasts. So I hope you're one of those. And if you're watching today, I trust that you are. We're looking at some of the commandments that God gives us in the New Testament as Christians, and this week and next at some of those commands in the rather long and passage in 1 Corinthians, the epistle to the 1 Corinthians. Not the most pleasant epistle in the New Testament. This church was a struggling church in the spiritual sense. They were gifted, highly gifted. They had all sorts of wonderful teachers and so forth, but it was a church that really struggled to mature. And so there's a lot of instruction, a lot of teaching in this book, a lot of commands in this book to this church of people made up largely of immature baby-type Christians. We're going to look at a second one today in chapter 3, verse 10. It said, and this is going to be take heed. So I want to look at this with you. According to the grace of God which is given to me, like a wise master builder, I laid a foundation, and another is building on it, but each man must be careful how he builds on it. So some translations translate this being careful as take heed, but either way, be careful how you build on it. Now, what is he talking about? The context here is the local church. He's talking about the foundation of the local church, the church that God has established. And he's talking about those who planted that church and built the foundation. And he says that's been done by people like himself and other prophets and apostles. But you, he says, take heed how you build on that foundation. So we must be very careful what we build, what kind of superstructure we build on the foundation that God has laid through the apostles and prophets concerning the church. So we must be very careful. On a local level, the leadership of those of churches must be very careful what they do and how they build. He goes on in verse 11, for no one can lay a foundation other than the one which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. So the foundation laid by the apostles and prophets was nothing less than Jesus Christ. Now, if anyone builds on the foundation with gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, straw, let each man's work become evident, for the day will indicate it because it was revealed with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. So let's stop there for just a moment and notice that being built on the foundation of Christ can be things of value and things that are just inconsequential and will pass away. He'll come to that in just a couple minutes. Gold, silver, and precious stone are things that last, things that are valuable. And of course, wood, hay, and straw is not so much. It is consumed and destroyed very easily. So as we're laying on that foundation, building on that foundation, let us make sure we're using construction materials that will last and are of value. Each man's work is going to become evident, he said. What we do in our building on this foundation will become evident, and it will be revealed in verse 13 with fire, and the fire itself will test the quality of each man's work. So if any man's work which he has built on it remains, he will receive a reward. If any man's work is burned up, he will suffer loss, but he himself will be saved, so yet as through fire. So he says here, look, as you lay on that foundation, as you build on that foundation, the day will come when you will be tested, more or less. These qualities, these things you've built, will be tested as for their value. Have you built on the foundation of the church, things that are lasting, things that are valuable, things that matter, or have you just kind of wasted your time? The day will come, and he's talking, of course, metaphorically. The products here, the materials are metaphorical, being used here as illustrations, and so he's using that same picture of being burned up. One day they'll be burned up. That is, they'll be tested by fire, and the things that didn't matter will be gone. They'll be disintegrated. But the things that matter will actually be improved. They will be refined through the fire. And therefore, it says here that each man will receive the reward that he deserves at that point. So we're not talking about salvation here. We're not talking about whether or not our work saves us. He's talking about rewards that are be given to his people for those who are careful about how they have built on the foundation of the church. That's a sober concept for us, something to really think about and pray about as we consider how we're building on the foundation of Jesus Christ.